Squid Game Season 3 has some of the most brutal and devastating deaths we've seen yet. Some died for no reason, others deserved every second of it. Let's go through them all. The first death we see is player 120's. During the fourth game, the infamous Knives and Keys challenge. Hyunju, who had teamed up with Junhee and Gemja, was part of the blue team. Throughout the round, we witness Hyunju protecting both of her teammates with relentless determination and skill. Two opposing players, player 226 and player 202, tried to attack them, but Hyunju fought them off and ultimately killed both. Her impressive combat ability came from her past. She was once a sergeant in the ROK Special Forces, trained extensively in hand-to-hand combat, as well as advanced weapons handling. She wasn't just good, she was elite. After finishing off player 202, Hyunju notices something unusual in the room. As she turns to leave, her eyes catch a door. Not just any door, but the exit door, the one that signifies the win condition of the game. Miraculously, she has all three required keys: the circle, the triangle, and the square. She opens it, and the way to victory lies in front of her. But just as she's about to step through, something stops her. She remembers Junhee and Gemja still waiting in another room, the room where Junhee had just given birth. Without hesitation and showing her selflessness, Hyunju abandons her chance to escape and walks back to them. Smiling, she shares the good news that they can finally leave, that they've won. But before anyone can react, disaster strikes. Hyunju is stabbed in the back, not once but twice. The attacker? MG Coin. She collapses to the floor, her face frozen in shock and sadness. Despite everything, Hyunju dies trying to save others. Her sacrifice marks the first tragic death in the game, one that none of us will forget. Though you might argue that Hyunju didn't deserve to die at all, some fans believe her story had been told and fulfilled, thus her death actually made sense. So, what do you think? The next death we witness is that of a player 044, the Shaman Lady, and it's a much-deserved downfall. After tragically losing all her loyal followers, she eventually stumbles upon the exit door. Hope fills her face as she runs toward it, believing she can finally escape. But that hope quickly fades. As mentioned earlier, the door requires 3 keys to open: the circle, the triangle, and the square. She reaches her key and realizes she only has the circle one. Determined, she leaves the room in search of the remaining 2 keys. While searching, she encounters player 100. She notices something. He has both the triangle key and the square key. She tells him that she knows where the exit door is and that together they now have all 3 keys to escape. Gramps agrees and she leads him to the door. But just as the door opens and the light shines through, betrayal strikes. Gramps suddenly pushes her away from the doorway, steps inside and pulls 1 key from the lock, jamming the door shut behind him. The Shaman Lady slams on the door, shouting in rage, cursing player 100 with every word she can conjure. And then the real nightmare begins. Min-soo arrives. Still suffering the effects of the Thanos pills, he's hallucinating wildly. He approaches the Shaman Lady, trembling, shouting desperately for Semi, his dead friend. Confused and panicked, also because of the effects of the pills, he mistakes the Shaman Lady for Namgyu, the player responsible for Semi's death. Blinded by rage and delusion, Min-soo lashes out. He stabs her repeatedly, over and over, yelling Semi's name through tears and madness. The Shaman Lady dies painfully, sitting against the very door she helped open, her blood staining the ground. Her final curse may never be heard, but it's definitely felt, and many of us have already anticipated her death for months. While player 044's death was chaotic and brutal, Daeho's downfall was far more personal. His betrayal, his lies, and his cowardice finally caught up to him, and Gi-hun was ready to make him pay. Gi-hun holds Daeho personally responsible for the failed rebellion and the deaths of the players who participated in it, most notably the death of Gi-hun's best friend, Young-bae. Ever since that day, Gi-hun has had only one thing on his mind: revenge. And now in the fourth game, Knives and Keys, Gi-hun is determined to end Daeho's life for good. Daeho senses the tension. He confronts Gi-hun before the game begins, attempting to defend himself, but it's useless. Gi-hun isn't listening. He's already made up his mind. The moment the game starts, Gi-hun immediately begins hunting for Daeho throughout the maze, completely ignoring other blue team players. His focus is razor sharp. His target is Daeho. After a long, intense search, Gi-hun finally finds him in a room of stairs. The two clash in a brutal fight. In the heat of the moment, Daeho breaks down and confesses everything. He had been lying from the start. He was never a Marine, never strong, never skilled. The tattoo he had proudly worn was fake. He couldn't even fire a gun. All of it had been an act. Daeho begs Gi-hun for mercy, but Gi-hun is past reason. He lunges, but Daeho bolts, fleeing in desperation. He sprints into a nearby door only to discover too late that it's a trap. Behind it is nothing but a drop into the void. Cornered and hopeless, Daeho turns around slowly. And there stands Gi-hun, eyes full of rage. Without hesitation, Gi-hun attacks and ends up choking Daeho with his bare hands. Struggling, gasping, Daeho dies, his final moments consumed by fear and regret. While Daeho's death was driven by vengeance, Yongsik's was fueled by desperation and ended in pure heartbreak. It happens shortly after Hyunju's tragic death. Junhee and Gyumja leave the room where Junhee had given birth, following Hyunju's final message about the location of the exit door. As they're about to open it and escape, Yongsik suddenly appears, blocking their path. He's holding a knife. His eyes are full of panic and desperation. His target is Junhee, but Gyumja, his own mother, steps in between them and stops him. A tense silence fills the air. Yongsik then breaks down, explaining why he's doing this. He hasn't killed anyone during the game, not a single person. And he knows what that means. If the red players don't kill at least one opponent, they lose. He's gonna die. Tears stream down Gyumja's face. Her son, so lost and terrified, now considers killing an innocent young mother just to survive. Despite her heartbreak, she refuses to let him take Junhee's life. But Yongsik, growing frantic, pushes her aside, sending her crashing to the floor. He steps toward Junhee, raising his knife with trembling hands. His face is full of conflict, but his decision is made. He lifts the blade above his head, ready to bring it down, but then everything changes. Yongsik drops to the floor, whispering only one word. Mom. His voice fades. Time runs out. He still hasn't killed anyone. Moments later, the guards arrive. Without hesitation, they shoot Yongsik where he lies. His story ends there, not as a killer, but as a broken son, undone by fear, love, and the cruelty of the games. While Yongsik was stabbed by his own mother in a moment of desperation, it was that very act that broke Gyumja completely. Not long after taking her own son's life to save Junhee, she made a heartbreaking decision of her own. After everything that had happened in the fourth game, she finally survives and returns to the dorms with Junhee and her newborn baby. But emotionally, Gyumja is shattered. Her son, Yongsik, is dead, and as she once said in Season 2, without him, she had nothing left to live for. But that wasn't all. Hyunju, whom she loved like a daughter, also died in the maze, protecting Junhee and Gyumja to the very end. The loss of both her real son and her found daughter left Gyumja completely broken, wandering like a ghost through the dorm. When the time came for the voting before the fifth game, she collapsed to her knees, once again begging the remaining players to stop the games entirely. She pleaded with everything she had left, tears, trembling hands, all of it. But once again, no one listened. The majority voted for the game to continue, and the O's won. That night, before lights out, she spoke privately with Gi-hun. Her voice was soft but certain. She told him none of this was his fault and encouraged him to stay strong. And then she said something that would stick with him forever. Please protect Junhee's baby. Those were her final words to him. The night passed quietly. No fights, no screaming. For once, everyone seemed to sleep in peace. But when the players woke up the next morning and the guards entered the dorm with a coffin, the peace shattered. Gyumja was hanging from one of the high beds. She had taken her own life during the night. After losing the two people who meant everything to her, her son and her closest friend, she had nothing left, no reason to continue. Her choice was final, and it seemed she had made it with full clarity. This is the tragic, quiet end of Gyumja. Moving on to the jump rope game, we have the shocking and somewhat satisfying death of Nam-gyu. After losing his precious stash of Thanos pills and being completely unaware that Minsu is now in possession of them, Nam-gyu is absolutely falling apart. Mentally, emotionally, physically, you name it. Minsu, now holding all the pills, walks up to Nam-gyu, who's sweating bullets and spiraling fast. With the most smug expression ever, Min-soo pulls out the cross necklace that had been hiding the pills. Nam-gyu instantly flips, yelling at him, demanding the pills back. But Min-soo, he's done being bullied. After everything Nam-gyu put him through, manipulation, threats, cruelty, Min-soo is on his revenge arc. Instead of giving them back, he casually tosses the cross onto the bridge, where nobody has dared to step yet. Nam-gyu, desperate and shaking, realizes he has no choice. He becomes the first player to attempt the deadly bridge, all for the pills. He jumps and makes it, one piece at a time, just trying to get that cross. He finally reaches it, opens it, and plot twist, it's empty. The cross is empty. There are no pills. The realization hits Nam-gyu like a truck. His eyes go wide, his breath stops. The betrayal is complete. And just like that, the giant rope swings across the platform. Nam-gyu doesn't even try to dodge it. He just stands there, still frozen, still thinking about what just happened. The rope smacks him clean off the bridge. Nam-gyu falls into the abyss below. Player 124 eliminated. A poetic end to a chaotic villain. Everything feels empty now, but it's even emptier after this next death. Yoon-hee's death. After witnessing the loss of Gyumja and Hyunju, Joon-hee is beyond broken. There's nothing but despair in her eyes. When the time comes for the 5th game, the atmosphere is heavier than ever. One by one, the remaining players jump the rope and move forward. Most of them dying, everyone except Joon-hee. She's the last one. Back in the 4th game, while trying to escape from player 226 with Hyunju and Gyumja, Joon-hee fractured her left foot. Since then, she's barely been able to walk, let alone jump. So when the 5th game arrives and it's her turn, the arena is already cleared. She stands alone on the edge of the platform. 1 minute remains on the clock. Gi-hun, holding her baby in his arms, urges her to wait, to stay still while he figures out how to help. He yells across the gap that he's coming back for her, but Joon-hee refuses. She tells him that it's no use. With her foot in that condition, she simply cannot jump. It's not fear holding her back, it's the physical impossibility of it. Tears welling in her eyes, she looks at Gi-hun and makes one final request. Please protect my baby. Gi-hun begs her to try, pleads with her not to give up, not like this. He tells her to give it a chance, to fight for her life. She sheds one last tear, takes one last look at her child, and steps forward. She walks to the edge, whispers goodbye under her breath, and falls into the void. That's where Joon-hee dies. Not from violence or the game's brutality, but from quiet acceptance. She knew she had no chance. Her last act wasn't desperation. It was love. All she wanted was for her child to live and for someone to care. Her final hope rested in Gi-hun, and that was enough for her. After Min-soo's revenge, he actually survives the 5th game and becomes a finalist, reaching the final stage. But little did he know, this game would be his last. He is the first player to die in the final game. The 6-O's players secretly agree to eliminate one player in each round, and for the first round, they choose Min-soo. He is still under the effects of the Thanos pills, heavily hallucinating and confused. While the O's plan to push Min-soo into the void, they hesitate. Getting too close is risky. Min-soo might grab onto someone and pull them down with him. They need a safer method. That's when MG Coin picks up a long metal pole. His plan is to push Min-soo from a distance. Min-soo, in his delusional state, mistakes MG Coin for See Me. He believes the pole being extended toward him is her hand, reaching out to him. Min-soo starts crying, emotionally overwhelmed, believing Sammy is forgiving him, calling him to go with her. He slowly reaches out, whispering her name. But the truth is far from what he sees. The moment he touches the pole, MG Coin shoves it forward, sending Min-soo off the platform and into the void. That marks the end of Min-soo, player 125. Though tragic, he died feeling close to the one person he missed the most. In some way, after all the pain he caused and the loss he suffered, Min-soo got both revenge on Nam-gyu and a final, comforting hallucination of Say-me. His story ends there. His redemption, grief, and delusion all crashing down into the void along with him. While Min-soo died lost in a hallucination, believing he was reaching out to someone he loved, Gramps' death was the complete opposite. After being such a horrible human being, betraying almost everyone who helped him, and plotting to end the lives of nearly every player, he finally gets the ending he truly deserves: death. Gramps, throughout the games, showed zero remorse. He manipulated others, especially those who trusted him, and his greed was unmatched. As the final game progressed, the tension rose. In the second round, 4 of the 6 O's had already been eliminated by fighting each other. Jungdae found himself isolated and vulnerable. Desperate, Gramps tried to bargain with Gi-hun and MG Coin. He promised to give them a share of his massive winnings if they spared his life. But by this point, Gi-hun and MG Coin had no trust left in the man. They saw through his lies and manipulation. No one was buying it anymore. Armed with a metal pole, the same weapon used in previous eliminations, Gi-hun and MG Coin approached Gramps. Without hesitation, they pushed him toward the edge. Gramps struggled, begging and pleading, but it was too late. The pole pushed him off the platform, and he fell into the void. Finally, justice was served, and with it, a glimmer of hope for the remaining players still fighting for survival. While Gramps' death felt like long-awaited justice for a lifetime of lies and betrayal, MG Coin's death came as the final blow in a downward spiral of greed, cowardice, and cruelty. Throughout the season, we saw how much MG Coin changed, revealing his true side. A greed-driven man who didn't care about the deaths of other players, or even his own daughters, the baby Junhee gave birth to. MG Coin instantly turned his back on Gi-hun, wanting to kill both Gi-hun and the baby. He demanded Gi-hun leave the baby on the floor and back away. But Gi-hun remembered the promise to protect Junhee's baby at all costs, so he refused. After MG Coin threatened repeatedly to kill them both if Gi-hun didn't obey, Gi-hun reluctantly complied. He left the baby on the bridge leading to the next round and backed away. MG Coin picked up the baby, but Gi-hun, almost out of time, jumped to the next round, preparing to fight MG Coin. MG Coin left the baby on the floor, eyes locked on Gi-hun, ready to kill him. However, when he saw Gi-hun had a sharp knife the frontman had given him, MG Coin realized he wasn't strong enough to kill Gi-hun. In a desperate move, MG Coin grabbed his own daughter and held her out over the void. Dropping the baby would mean certain death. Gi-hun couldn't let that happen, so he risked everything to save the baby, and then the fight began. After an intense struggle, MG Coin eventually falls to his death, just like so many others before him. Honestly, this was a relief for a lot of fans, as MG Coin had become one of the most unlikable characters, almost a full villain by the end. His death felt like justice served, closing the chapter on one of the darkest players in the game. The last and most heartbreaking, yet strangely expected death is that of Gi-hun. After his intense fight with MG Coin, he realizes something shocking. He never pressed the button on the floor to start the round. Without pressing it, MG Coin's death doesn't count as a game elimination. That means only 2 people are left, Gi-hun and the baby. Gi-hun now faces a devastating choice. Once the button is pressed, the round begins and one of them must die for the other to win. Either he sacrifices himself or the baby dies. He presses the button. The countdown starts. The VIPs watch silently, anticipating his decision. Gi-hun walks slowly to the edge of the platform, holding the baby close. He looks down into the void for a long, painful time, fully aware this is his end. He reflects on everything: the rebellion, the losses, Hyunju's sacrifice, Gyumja's pain, Junhee's death, the death of his best friend, Youngbae, and most of all, the promise he made to protect this child. With seconds left, Gi-hun kneels down. He gently kisses the baby's forehead. He places her softly on the ground, making sure she's safe. Then, taking one final breath, he stands again, silent and composed. As the countdown nears 0, Gi-hun takes a final step forward and falls into the void. Gi-hun sacrifices himself for Junhee's baby. It's another suicide, but this time it's an act of pure love and protection. The main character of the series, the soul of the story, is gone. This was the most heartbreaking death for many fans and the final blow of the season. Player 456 eliminated.